Hey kiddos, Mrs. Dahl with another Math Minutes here. All right, let's keep talking about division. So last time we talked about how division is equal sharing into groups. So I had some Skittles and I wanted to share them with my friends. And so we practiced doing that and writing division sentences. Let's continue that practice today, and we're going to also talk about how that relates to multiplication. So I have 3 parts here. So grab your whiteboards and your marker or a piece of paper and a pencil and write along with me if you want. Let's practice by starting off with our division symbol or dividing. And then since I have 3 groups here, we're just going to write a 3. We're going to divide it into 3 equal groups. Let's add our equal sign. And remember, we talked about how we start with the whole, kind of like when we're making a subtraction sentence, and the number that we start with all together is our first number, because that's how we're going to separate it and divide it into groups. Kind of like when we're doing subtraction and we take away from that whole number, that number has to be first. So I've got some blocks here, and let's count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 blocks. So that's how many I have all together. So let's go ahead and write that number here. 9 divided by 3. So we need to divide it or share it into 3 equal groups. 1 in each group. 2 and 3. All right, before we write our answer, let's double check. Do we have the same amount in each group? And do we have 3 groups? Yes, we do. So we have 3 in each group. So if I have 9 blocks and I divide it equally into 3 groups, that means each group gets 3. So our division sentence looks like this. 9 divided by 3 equals 3. Now let's stop for a minute before we practice another one. How do you think this relates to multiplication? Because multiplication is equal groups too. Look at my mat. See if you can write on your whiteboard or a piece of paper a multiplication sentence for this. Go ahead and pause this video if you need to. Well, let's look. I have 3 groups of 3 in each group, so I can say 3 times 3 equals, all together that makes 9. So these are related facts. 9 divided by 3 equals 3, and 3 times 3 equals 9 are related multiplication and division sentences. If I have 9 blocks and I divide it into 3 equal groups, I have 3 in each group. That's the same as 3 times 3, 3 groups, equals 9. All right, let's practice another one, and I want you to think about the related multiplication sentence as we're doing the division sentence. So let's go ahead and leave our equal signs, and let's leave our division and multiplication signs or symbols, and let's just erase all of our numbers. Or if you're writing with a piece of paper, you can go ahead and get ready for your sentences, your number sentences with the symbols. Times equals, divide equals. All right, I've got 4 parts in this one. So we're going to do 4 equal groups. And this time I decided I'm going to share. I have all these cool buttons. This is called my button box. Isn't that fun? So I'm going to share my buttons into 4 equal groups. All right, so before we do that, let's go ahead, and since we know we're doing dividing it or separating it into 4 groups, we can put a 4 after our division symbol. Now we need to figure out how many buttons I have all together. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, count with me, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right, let's double check that counting. Let's do it smarter, not harder, and count by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. All right, I just wanted to be sure. Good mathematicians always are sure at every step, because if I counted wrong on that step, this wouldn't turn out right, would it? So now I need to divide it into 4 equal groups. But before we do that, let's write our number that we're starting with. We're starting with 20 buttons. We're dividing or sharing it into 4 equal groups. And let's see how many each group gets. All right. So if I just divide and separate them equally, this is a lot of buttons. You can do this at home and find some fun things like crackers or cookies or cereal or non-food item things like buttons or things that you have around the house, some fun toys. And just practice this and practice writing your division and your multiplication sentences. There we are. I have my 4 equal groups. Let's see how many is in each group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just double check the other groups to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So we know that 20 buttons divided into 4 equal groups is 5 in each group. All right, now take a minute on your own and write a multiplication sentence using this same format and the buttons. Go ahead and look at that and pause if you need to. All right, so we know that we have 5 buttons in each group, and we're timesing that 4 times because we have 4 equal groups. And when we do 5 times 4, 5, 4 times, we know that we get 20 buttons altogether. So the related multiplication sentence for 20 divided by 4 equals 5 is 5 times 4 equals 20. So that's kind of like doing a fact family, but with division and multiplication sentences. So I want you to go ahead and practice this on your own. Start with something to divide it, and then try to write the related multiplication sentence. Awesome. You guys are doing so good. Thanks for listening. See you next time.